What is up, y'all? Welcome to Purposeful Life Lessons, where we inspire, motivate, and change. I am Devin, and I'm gonna do a story time for y'all, talking about being passionate about something rather than nothing. So, normally this is gonna be our first video for Purposeful Life Lessons. I have put up some short videos earlier throughout last year. Mainly was just a motivational message and working out, but everything on here dealing with motivation, whether it's a motivational message, a story time, or workout videos. But this is my second YouTube channel. Y'all can go subscribe. Y'all subscribe here, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you gotta be notified every time I upload an episode. Also, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my other page, other YouTube channel, The Chosen League, where I talk sports for all y'all sports fanatics. But yeah, story time. Be passionate about something rather than nothing. I want to talk to y'all today about my journey of starting my brand, The Chosen League, and also and we can throw Purposeful Life Lessons in here too. So with The Chosen League, mainly it's my podcast. I started back in February of 2021. I've played sports. I love to talk about sports, and so I was like, why not? And also, shout out to my uncle. He was the one that gave me some inspiration. I started watching First Take, Undisputed. Really, I was tuned into Undisputed because of Shannon Sharpe, who I admire as a sports analyst. And so I started out, my podcast, The Chosen League. I was doing just audio. I wasn't really on YouTube yet. And I started out doing that. Met a couple of people along the way who were doing the same thing as I was. I remember being on Hoop Jack podcast. He would have his co-host. Me, I was just doing it by myself. I remember coming up with the name. My mother helped me come up with the name. And I always say, there was this Christian rap artist called Trip Lee. He always used to say, I'm in a league of my own. So I said, league. And my mother, she was helping me with the name, and I was like, I'm like, Mom, I always say league, and she was like, The Chosen League, and I was like, okay, Chosen League. All of us is chosen by God. We're chosen people of God. But anyways, so I had the name, created the name. I just had a basic logo, which was just a colorful background of a basketball court, and I had the name. And then later on, I put a spin. I put my creativity together and I put a spin on the logo. But anyways, back to the story. Was with Hoop Jack, collabing with him. Started out by myself, and then later on started collabing with him. I remember one episode we did together was about what route would you take to get to the NBA, and would you either go to college for 4 years? Some go 1 or 2 years, all 4 years, 3 years, however you want to do it. College, the G League, or go overseas. So I chose G League because you're right there. You're closer to your goal, right? So over time, as I'm getting up, I'm putting out content. You got to make sure when you're passionate about something, you want to do something, you always, whatever you're going to do, whatever it's that business, you always got to do your research. So did a webinar there was a free webinar, and I was on there taking notes and see what it was, what you have to do to have a podcast, the equipment, all that, etc. Went in there and did that. I know I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit, but went on there, was recording I was literally recording like almost every day. Really, it was just every day. Like every chance I got, I was just recording, because sports at that, like in 2021, it was a lot of things going on with the NFL and the NBA. So I was just more focused on the NFL and NBA. I wasn't really talking college basketball, college football like I am now. But was doing that, and when you're doing the audio, when you get plays. So the amount of plays you get is the amount of people that have listened to your show. So I would have like one play, and then sometimes it goes up two, and it just started, it got higher as time went on. So there was one time where I didn't get no plays at all. So nobody listened to the episode. And I got a little down a little bit on myself, and then I was like, I remember my mother was telling me to keep going, and this is just the start. And that's the thing we have to understand. We're so busy, at times we're so busy worrying about the destination and not acknowledging the journey. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we have to come to the reality of, we just started this. It's not gonna blow up overnight. It's not gonna blow up as fast as we think it will. But you have, as long as you're, like I say, be passionate about something rather than nothing. As long as you're consistent, unlock that creativity that you have, you're gonna be fine. So I continue to post. I continue to do more and more content, put out more content, talk about the NBA, talk about the NFL. I just talked about what was going on. And so another reason for me doing my my podcast was, I always, like I said, I played sports. I had debates with my friends back in middle school, and we always talked about it. So I was like, why not give my perspective on the game? And so over time, like I said, I ran into people. Hoop Jack was one, Jay Sports Takes, who also did. I ended up doing a interview with him. We both interviewed each other on when we were on YouTube. And so I got to a point where I was like, okay, I've grown this. The audio is, people are coming. And so later on, as I'm going and putting more and more, I'm recording more and more for the audio, I look at all my old videos old recordings that I put out. They're starting to come up, because now I'm giving people a chance to they can go and listen to my previous episodes, and then they catch on. So that began to grow, and then I got to a point where I was like, okay, now I got to step outside my comfort zone. And being on YouTube was something I never done before at the time. So I was procrastinating about it. I was like, man, it'd be cool, cool to do YouTube, it'd be cool to do YouTube. But I didn't know how to conduct myself on camera, because I was just like, I never been on camera before. What do I have to do? And a lot of times you be trying to be so perfect. You don't want no hiccups, no mess ups, no bloopers, none of that stuff. But eventually you're gonna have times where you make mistakes. So I was just like, I don't know. I was contemplating about it. Then I put it to the back. And then one day I made up in my mind. I said, I'm gonna do it. So my first ever video on YouTube with the Chosen League was when I talked about the Golden State Warriors, and they won their 4th championship in 8 years. So we talking about Stephen Curry, Chef Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers. So I did that, and that one ended up going like 24 views. That was my first video. But I've always kept in my mind, just like how when I was just doing the audio before I did video, I didn't let myself, just because the views and wanting to get those views up and everything, I didn't let that stop me. I just I gotta keep putting out content. like I said, I love sports. I'm passionate about the game. And, you know, be consistent. And like I said, it's the journey that counts. Because once you get to your destination, you know you're going to get to your destination, because once you know your why for doing something, that's the thing I should have mentioned at the beginning. Knowing your why. That's the thing about me. I knew my why. I knew why I was doing this. One, because I love sports. Two, Shannon Sharpe, because I admire him as a sports analyst. The way he's able to talk and articulate his words, everything. His character, personality. So I knew what I had to do. I always did make sure I did my research on game stats, injury reports, whatever was going on. So I did that. And, you know, later on, as I continued to go up on YouTube, I started to blossom. I started to, I remember my first ever video that hit 1,000 views, 1K views. And I was talking about Jayden Daniels and the Raiders. And at this time, Jayden Daniels was, you know, he was in the draft and so on, and was trying to figure out, like, I think he's going to go to the Raiders because of Antonio Pierce. You know, his relationship with Antonio Pierce. And that video took off because it was a lot of information that people didn't know. I didn't even know at the time. Jayden Daniels, I thought he was with LSU though, his whole collegiate career. Come to find out, he transferred to LSU from Arizona State, and that's how him and Antonio Pierce got together. But anyways, I kept on going, and then I started to collab with other people like Sports PSP, World Champs, Sports for You podcast. They brought me onto their show, and we were talking about, you know, Baltimore Ravens. As y'all can see my beanie, Baltimore Ravens fan. Lamar Jackson, big trust. And also got to do an interview with Jay Sports Takes, a guy who I was collabing when I started out doing just audio for my podcast. He ended up doing an interview with me, and I was telling him how, just like how I'm telling y'all, how I started out my podcast. And, you know, my favorite player is Russell Westbrook, basketball. Favorite football player, Lamar Jackson. But it just, over time, I started to see how I was able to grow and how far I've come. Consistency is key, man. And I think the biggest thing for me last year, which is in year 3 of my podcast, which was last year, this year going on year 4, we hit 4 years in February. The biggest thing that really made my podcast, I would say, that put me out there was when I had the opportunity to meet the person that I admired, which was Shannon Sharpe. And I remember asking him, he said, I told him, I said, what does it take to be a great sports analyst like yourself? And he said, you know, main thing, you got to work, but he said, you got to make sacrifices. You have to be selfish, you know, because sports don't come on just the weekdays. They come on the weekends. And when he said sacrifice, you know, there are things you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice those time going out with your friends. When everybody want to go party and do all this other stuff, you're going to have to make sacrifices because you want to be great. If you want to be great at something, you have to put in the work. And you got to study. And that's one of the things he told me. You got to study. And, you know, that changed my life because I actually got to meet somebody I admired, and he really stuck it out to me. So it's just like now there's other plans in place. And like I said, once you surround yourself around people who are on the same wavelength as you, once you surround yourself around people who have this, y'all may not be in the same field, but y'all have the same mindset. Y'all are looking to succeed. Y'all have ambitions. Surround yourself around those people. And also, I want to say this too. In order to be great at what you do, incorporate God in everything that you do. And also, I want to leave y'all with this last thing before I end it off. Celebrate your small wins. A small victory is another part of history. I'm going to say that one more time. A small victory is another part of history. So that is it for today's story time. Once again, be passionate for something rather than nothing. Love y'all. Make sure y'all once again like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. Devin, and I'm out.